Thank you once again for joining me today on the Path of Ascension for our guide with Kleia. We'll be doing Humility for Thran'tiok. You come over here to your soul mirror, you come down to Thran'tiok and choose Humility. Now this is updated for 9.1 because previously we had used the turnip method, which is no longer usable because it will despawn all target dummies, so it will also do these as well, so you can't even do the energy glitch. But we're going to come over here, we're going to choose Kleia. For this fight, we do need to take the Deep Echo Trident so we can interrupt. So the way the fight works is Thran'tiok is anchored to there just shy of the center. She has 4 phylacteries around her. They will be linked to her, giving her a shield. You have to break one to break that shield. She will take increased damage by 20% for about 25 seconds. And each one of these will contain her abilities. So as you break them, they will give her abilities. The first one you typically want to break is going to be the Greater Death Bolt, which is just an improved version of the spell that she's already casting. Then, of course, Death Blossom, which will make her cast, it'll be a ring that starts at her and expands outward. There are safe zones to step between. You want to step between them to continue DPSing her. Do not jump over them with Leap of Faith. It is an invisible wall, so you will still take the damage. Jumping does not save you from the damage. The third one you want to break is Word of Suffering, which is a dot. Ideally, you want to interrupt the first one. And then, of course, the last one you want to do is Terminal Destruction, because what's going to happen there is it's a long cast, but it's a big hit, and it will kill you instantly. So what you're going to do is you can, because of the timer with the Deep Echo Trident, so if you'll see here, it does have a 30-second timer, so if you do interrupt the first Death Bolt, you're going to go through the Death Blossom and you'll be able to do the first Word of Suffering when it comes back up. And then, of course, you'll go into another Death Blossom, and then you'll want to break Terminal Destruction, and you'll want to interrupt that. You're going to have to eat Word of Suffering after that because you can't interrupt them both. We are going to be taking a full set of charms because we want to maximize our damage, health, and the whole shebang. We've, of course, got our braziers both lit, or braziers. So our main attack, of course, is our Ascended Strike. We're going to be standing just outside of melee because if you go inside of melee with Thran'tiok, she's going to destroy you. She does a ton of melee for whatever reason, but luckily Ascended Strike is kind of a ranged melee hit. We'll be keeping Keen inside up. We'll be able to use our Leap of Faith to get to the pots a little bit quicker or back to Thran'tiok, or even use it for the safe zones for Death Blossom. But once again, make sure you don't go over the top of the ring or you will still take the damage. And then whenever Archon's Blessing is up, we will take it. Normally, you get your first one about the time for Word of Suffering, and then we'll use it to break the pot, get a little bit of extra crit, continue to DPS her, and of course, use your equipment to break Death Bolt, Word of Suffering, and then that Terminal Destruction. Anything further than that, the fight's probably going to be a loss. But I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start the fight, and just like me, make sure to ring the bell so that way you can see notifications of when I go live. And then, of course, I will leave down in the description the Discord that you can also join, so that way you can join others that have done Path of Ascension and myself, so that way you can get your answers and questions asked. And then, of course, you can follow me on Twitch as well, where I am live, and every Monday I do Q&A, just like I'm doing right now to make these new guides. And, of course, my guides are live. You can see Thran'tiok there. You've got the phylacteries that just went to the side with the beams. We're going to start off on the right side.
A trial of humility for accepting failure and persevering.
We're going to hold off as close as we can on his fragmented feedback to maximize our damage here. And there is. So it should be going into a Death Blossom. Now, Death Blossom is RNG for the safe spot, so it's always going to be changing, which can kind of screw you over. Just be mindful, and when it finishes, it always does one final cast, so be mindful of that as well. Like right now, I'm getting some beautiful RNG on it. There's going to be one more. I accidentally just kicked the chest, the phylactery rather than him. Almost didn't see that. Oh my god. There it is, long cast. Wait for as long as you can. Break it. Here comes the Death Blossom.
Hold strong. You almost have it.
And that is our win on Thran'tiok. Once again, the hardest part of that fight is going to be the Death Blossom, because it is purely RNG. You can completely get screwed over on the raw fact that you use your Archon's Blessing, and then you end up running around the whole time, not able to do anything about it. But that's how you do it. Start off with the Greater Death Bolt, Death Blossom. Try to hold it off as long as you can on his shields. Go for then Word of Suffering, Terminal Destruction. Let it cast for as long as you can. And I will admit, since my last guide, it looks like they have slowed down the haste. That's not nearly as bad as it was before. Death Blossom, or the spell casting of Terminal Destruction was a lot faster, and that felt a lot slower. So it does look like they kind of nerfed the fight a little bit.